I caught my husband cheating after a sleepless night of suspicion. Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd be here, but I need to get this off my chest. I, 33F, have been married to my husband, Dan, 35M, for 7 years. Our relationship was what I thought to be perfect. We've shared laughter, travel, and dreams about our future. We've even talked about starting a family soon. But everything changed last night. This story isn't one of those slow burn realizations where you slowly piece things together. No, this hit me like a train, all in one awful, sleepless night. A little background, Dan works in marketing, so he sometimes travels for work or works late hours. I've never questioned it. I've always trusted him. He's been my rock, the man who'd drop anything if I needed him. But over the past few months, he's been more distant. At first, I thought he was just stressed with work. But something about his behavior started gnawing at me. He was glued to his phone, constantly getting messages and acting cagey when I asked about his day. He'd brush off my concerns, telling me I was being paranoid. Then last night happened. He'd come home late, saying he was stuck in client meetings. But when he walked in, something felt off. He smelled like a mix of perfume and alcohol, and his shirt was wrinkled, like he'd been out longer than he claimed. I could feel it in my gut that something was wrong. So when he went to bed, I pretended to sleep beside him, waiting for him to drift off. I tried to ignore it, to brush it off as an overactive imagination, but I couldn't shake that feeling. Around 2 a.m., I was lying there wide awake, staring at the ceiling, while he snored beside me. My heart was racing, and my mind kept replaying all the little things I'd noticed over the past few months, the late nights, the hidden phone messages, the way he'd been avoiding eye contact. It was all coming together. But I still didn't want to believe it. I sat up, my heart pounding, and decided that I couldn't go another minute without knowing the truth. I got out of bed as quietly as I could and went to his office where he'd left his work bag. I never snoop, but this time, I felt like I had to. When I opened his bag, my stomach twisted. Inside, there was a hotel receipt for a room booked that very night. The receipt had today's date on it and was for a fancy hotel across town. I felt nauseated, my mind racing. Was this the client meeting he'd mentioned? I sat there in shock, staring at the receipt. Every rational part of me wanted to confront him right then and there, but I was too afraid. I needed more proof, something undeniable. So, I went back into the bedroom and carefully grabbed his phone. My hands were shaking as I unlocked it. My worst fears were confirmed when I found a string of messages with someone named Lisa. They weren't work-related, not by a long shot. The messages were flirtatious, intimate, and filled with plans for future meetings. They talked about how incredible the night had been and how they couldn't wait to see each other again. I felt like the floor had been ripped out from under me. I read through the messages, my heart breaking with every word. She'd sent him a picture, nothing explicit, but enough to make my stomach turn. They'd been meeting up at least once a week for the past few months, and he'd even spent nights with her when he'd told me he was out of town. At this point, I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the living room and spent the next few hours just crying. It felt like my world was crumbling around me, like the life I thought I knew was just a mirage. I kept checking the clock, watching as the minutes ticked by, feeling the anger and betrayal boil up inside me. I thought about waking him up right then, screaming at him, demanding answers. But instead, I sat there in silence, letting the reality sink in. The entire night, I didn't sleep. I sat there until the first light of dawn peeked through the window, rehearsing what I was going to say. When he finally woke up, he came into the living room, rubbing his eyes, asking why I was up so early. I looked at him, trying to keep my composure, but I couldn't hold back anymore. "Do you have anything you want to tell me?" I asked, holding up his phone. The messages with Lisa still open. His face went pale, and for a split second, I saw a flicker of guilt before he tried to cover it up. "What are you doing with my phone?" he stammered, trying to grab it from me, but I pulled it back. "I found your messages, Dan, the ones with Lisa. I know about the hotel. I know everything." I couldn't hold back the tears anymore, and they streamed down my face as I said the words out loud, making it all the more real. He didn't try to deny it. He just stood there, his face twisted in shame, mumbling something about it was a mistake and he didn't mean for it to happen. He said he'd been feeling distant, that work stress had gotten to him, that he didn't know how to handle things. Excuses. That's all they were to me. Excuses for betraying the person who had been by his side through everything. I asked him if he loved her, and he just looked down, unable to answer. That silence told me everything. I couldn't bear to look at him. I told him to leave, that I needed space to figure out what to do. He begged me to reconsider, saying he'd cut things off, that he'd do anything to make it up to me. But I couldn't listen. The man I thought I knew was a stranger, and I couldn't stand being in the same room as him. Now, here I am, still in shock, trying to process the fact that my marriage may be over. I've been awake for over 24 hours, running on fumes, trying to figure out what went wrong and how I could have missed the signs. My friends and family know something is up, but I haven't told them yet. I don't know how to even begin explaining it. This night has changed everything. I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust him again or if I even want to try. Part of me wants to pack up and leave, to start fresh somewhere far away from all of this. But another part of me is heartbroken at the idea of letting go of the life we built together. For now, I'm just trying to take it one step at a time, to figure out what my next move is. I never thought I'd be in this position, writing my story to strangers on the internet. But maybe someone reading this has been through something similar, and maybe there's hope for getting through this, one way or another.